The Iranian heroine was taken into police custody for her own protection. While there, the Mumbai police tried to nail her with the charge of indecent exposure. As the wheels of justice turned, Aphrodite Khan remained in a police lockup until a female film director from Bollywood came and bailed her out. The director decided to keep her at her house until Aphrodite could make up her mind whether she would like to return to her family in Tehran or if she preferred to stay permanently in India and hopefully continue her acting career. As soon as the so-called Tawaif of Bollywood was released from police custody, 10 film directors approached her and offered her leading roles in their upcoming movies. Aphrodite knew that she had no place or family to go to. She accepted all the offers that were presented to her. No new film actress before or since had ever been offered so many parts in so many movies, nor had ever received the sheer volume of offers thrown at the feet of this Greek goddess of love. It created a great deal of jealousy and envy among the other actresses. When news of this reached Mrs. Khan, she had to stop it by any means possible. She wanted Aphrodite off Indian soil, the sooner the better. She approached a high-ranking police inspector and offered to pay him 50 lakhs if he could charge the Iranian slut with any breach of India's immigration law and get her deported permanently. The first step in the police inspector's search began at the Mumbai International Airport. He contacted the airport and inquired about the kind of visa the Iranian heroine presented upon her arrival in Mumbai. The airport authority told him that they had no record of her arrival at the Mumbai International Airport. They had no idea through which airport she had entered into the country. His second step he took was visiting the movie star in the flesh, and asking her to tell him exactly which airport she landed upon her arrival in India. He was surprised when she told him she flew in from Iran on the plane to the Mumbai International Airport. Then, he asked her to show him her passport. She told him that her passport had been taken by Mahmud Khan. The police inspector went to the evil man and asked him to produce the passport of the Iranian girl who acted in his latest movie. Mahmud Khan denied that he had taken her passport from her. On the final and third step in his investigation, the corrupt police inspector placed the Iranian heroine under arrest for entering the country illegally. It was breaking news when the Mumbai police announced that the Iranian heroine had no passport and there was no record of her arrival at Chhatrapati Shivaji International Airport. The police could not use harsh interrogation methods to interrogate Aphrodite because she was considered to be a high-profile film star. Nonetheless, she was to be kept under arrest until she could produce her passport and prove how she arrived in India. Aphrodite continued to insist she had come to India by means of the Mumbai International Airport and her passport had been taken by Mahmud Khan. In an interview, the new Mumbai police commissioner said that if the Iranian heroine could not produce her passport or prove how she entered the country, she would be prosecuted and if found guilty, jailed, and after serving her sentence, she would be deported back to Iran. She wouldn't be allowed to return to India again. The same female film director, who had bailed the Iranian heroine out of jail the first time, approached the Mumbai police authority and bailed her out again. She paid ₹500 crore for her bail. The female film director who bailed Aphrodite out of jail twice was a wealthy Hindu woman. She was called Rani Krishna. She was a former Bollywood heroine. She requested Aphrodite tell her exactly and truthfully how she came to know Mahmud Khan and why did he take away her passport. Aphrodite trusted Rani and narrated to her in no few details her sad story from the time she left India with her mother when she was 7 years old until she returned back to her country to visit her 80-year-old Saudi husband who was in jail. Then, she told her how Mahmud Khan's men kidnapped her and took her to his farmhouse and imprisoned her for many months. She was forced in marriage and sex against her wish. She was crying while she recounted how she was beaten up, slapped, smacked, and flogged by the brutal sadistic animal every time he had sex with her. Rani wept continuously while she was hearing all the horrifying details. She encouraged Aphrodite to tell the police what the evil deviant had done to her while keeping her captive as his sex slave. She informed her that according to the Indian law no person could be forced to marry another person against his/her wish. Rani concluded that in the sight of the law Aphrodite's marriage to that evil man is illegal. At first, Aphrodite was scared to inform the police about her true identity. She was still controlled by fear that her wicked captor had instilled in her, believing her Saudi husband would find her and kill her. Rani told her that her Saudi husband was murdered inside the jail one day before his final trial. Moreover, she assured her that she would be considered a victim rather than a criminal by the Mumbai police. Rani Krishna believed every word Aphrodite Khan told her because she too used to be a secret mistress of Mahmud Khan. She agreed to sleep with him when she was 21 years old. She did so because he tempted her with a leading role in one of his movies. After she found a young handsome hero and fell in love with him, she broke up with Mahmud Khan. Her new lover was a Muslim. She married him although retaining her Hindu faith. After acting in her first movie directed by Mahmud Khan, Rani acted as a heroine in a few other movies with various other directors. She wasn't as successful as some of the other Indian heroines of her time. She stopped acting and became a director and began to produce her own movies. Rani had a son from her marriage to her Muslim husband. Her marriage did not last long. After her son was born, her Muslim husband began to cheat on her. When she found out that her husband was cheating on her, Rani divorced him, dedicating her time and resources to bringing up her son as best she could. Later on, Rani introduced her son to the film industry when he completed grade 12. When he was 18 years old, her son acted in a movie directed by her. After that, he acted as a hero in a couple of movies produced by other directors. All three of his movies were successful. He gained fame and a great name in Bollywood. When he was 25 years old, Mahmud Khan offered him a leading role in his new movie. His movie with the greatest Bollywood director was a big hit too. Unfortunately, it was the last movie that Rani's son acted in. At the end of his fourth movie, he was killed by the son of Mahmud Khan. Rani Krishna revealed to Aphrodite Khan that the actor who was killed by Mahmud Khan's son was her own son. She told her further that her son before he was killed confessed to her that he had fallen in love with the Iranian girl with whom he was acting in his fourth movie. Aphrodite wept bitterly when she came to know that the mother of the only man she had ever loved in her life was the same woman who came to the jail and bailed her out twice and gave her shelter. Rani said to Aphrodite that she looked at her as if she was her real daughter-in-law even though her son did not live until the two of them could get married. Aphrodite also said to Rani that she considered her to be her true mother-in-law. Instead of going directly to the police, Rani Krishna took Aphrodite Khan to a good lawyer and asked him to take her case. The lawyer was a Hindu. He showed great interest in the case. He considered it the greatest sex scandal that had ever happened in the history of Bollywood. After appointing a lawyer, Rani approached the Stink News TV and requested a special news interview with the Iranian heroine. She told them that Aphrodite Khan was a victim of kidnap and rape. However, she said that Aphrodite decided not to reveal who had kidnapped and brutally beat and raped her except on their live TV show. The Stink News interrupted its regularly scheduled programs and gave the Iranian heroine free access and time to tell the public her story of kidnap and rape. Aphrodite Khan surprised her viewers when she began her story by saying that she was born and brought up in a very poor Muslim family in Mumbai. According to the story of Mahmud Khan, Aphrodite Khan was born and raised in Iran. Aphrodite continued to say that when she was born, her family used to live in a very poor slum area in Dharavi. Her mother was known as Rehana and her father was called Rafi Khan. Her real name wasn't Aphrodite. She was named by her parents, Ifat. She had 5 brothers younger than her. She lost her father when she was very small girl. Her mother used to work as a maidservant in rich people's houses. When she was 7 years old, her mother got a maidservant visa to Saudi Arabia. Her mother left her 5 brothers with her grandmother and took her along with her to Saudi Arabia. When they reached Jeddah city, her mother was taken to jail and stoned to death. Aphrodite said that she did not know why the police in Saudi Arabia killed her mother. She was told by the Saudi man who sponsored them that her mother was stoned to death because she had done some very bad things. The same Saudi man who sponsored them took her to Eritrea and married her. At the time of their marriage, she was 7 years old and her Saudi husband was 70 years old. Aphrodite choked up while she was narrating the cruel way she was raped by the old Saudi when she was still yet a child. She said that she was taken to the hospital when the old Saudi raped her. She suffered a lot under his cruel treatment. He used to beat her up for any reason or for no reason. Many times, he tied her up and beat her like an animal. He always kept a long whip hanging on the wall in their bedroom, and whenever she disobeyed or displeased him, he flogged her mercilessly until sometimes she lost her consciousness. She stayed with him for 3 years in Asmara before the Eritrean police came and sent her back to Saudi Arabia. The police did not tell her anything except that she was supposed to return to Jeddah. At that time, she was 11 years old. She was pregnant by the time she was 11. When she arrived at Jeddah, she was kept for a few days inside a jail. The old Saudi came and took her from the jail and kept her in his house. Some American people tried to get her divorced from her Saudi husband, but the court rejected their lawsuit. After the court ruled in his favor, her Saudi husband took her to Iran. In Tehran, he bought a new house and kept her prisoner and wouldn't let her go outside from the time she arrived. Shortly, after her arrival at Tehran, she delivered her baby. The baby came out of her but died shortly after it was born. The old Saudi continued to beat and rape her. She lived with him in Iran for 7 years. She suffered so much at his hands during those very dark years and thought she would live this way for the rest of her life and didn't know any other way to live. For 10 years, she was imprisoned, beaten, and raped by her Saudi husband. After that, Aphrodite began to tell how she came to be back in India. When she mentioned that she came to visit her Saudi husband at Arthur Road Jail, her viewers immediately began to connect the dots. They understood that she was speaking about the evil old Saudi who had kidnapped and raped the 11-year-old Hyderabadi girl, Amina Hyder Ali. Then, Aphrodite mentioned her husband's name and what she knew about why he had come to be in jail and was finally murdered by one of his inmates. Her viewers already knew that the great Mumbai martyr and hero, the avatar of the Hindus' warrior god, Krishna, the late Mr. Joseph Varghese murdered her 80-year-old Saudi husband when he administrated the vigilante justice. They thanked the gods for setting her free from her captivity and the tyranny of that despicable Muslim pedophile who kidnapped her when she was only a child of 7 years old and imprisoned, beaten, and raped her for 10 years. Aphrodite's story from this point on had many of Bollywood film stars and producers who were watching the open show from their homes standing on their feet. When she began to tell her second tragic story of kidnap and rape, many of her viewers put their hands over their mouths in shock. They were in a stupor as she was pouring out the details of being kidnapped from in front of her hotel at Bombay Central by the men of the film director, Mahmood Khan. Then, she continued to say that she was taken to his farmhouse and imprisoned there against her wishes. She narrated how she was blackmailed by her captor and forced into a secret Islamic marriage with him. She was weeping while she was speaking. She spoke openly and provided many details of how he had beaten her up and raped her in a very cruel and painful way. She mentioned that he used to flog her naked body with a whip. He also used to slap her in the face and hit her in her head with his fists. He had even bitten her shoulders and violently grappled her breasts and bit her nipples. Sometimes, he used to squeeze her nipples with his fingers and bite them until they bled. Sometimes, he scratched her back with his nails to watch her bleed. He often pulled her hair out until she fainted. He used to twist her arms behind her back and bite her lips until she suffocated. Aphrodite Khan did not mention in the open show how she and her teacher had blackmailed Mahmud Khan. Rani Krishna told her she shouldn't mention that because she might run into trouble with the law. She concluded her story by saying that her captor decided to use her in his movies. He knew that she would not run away from him because he was blackmailing her by saying her Saudi husband was looking for her to kill her. Moreover, he frightened her that the Mumbai police was looking for her involvement in some crimes. Shortly, after she finished her open show on the Stink News TV, the Mumbai police raided the villa of Mahmud Khan at Juhu and arrested him under the charges of kidnapping, imprisoning, raping, and torturing the Iranian heroine, Aphrodite Khan. All Mumbai and Bollywood media houses covered and published the same captivating news story the following day, the biggest Bollywood sex scandal.